Welcome back to Sunny Morning. Joined here this morning, as always, by Sylvia Ressa. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thanks so much. And you've got some really great stuff coming up talking about youth initiatives today, right?
Exactly. And I think so because it should concern to every human being in this planet.
All over the world, we all got the same concern. Anybody as a parent, looking, for the future for your children and where you want them to end up in life, Sometimes it needs a little help from industry. We'll be talking a little bit about local initiatives in Mexico, and that's a great topic. Can't wait to be talking about that. And also other top news. My top story today concerns the new appointment of Mike Pompeo, the ex-CIA director, and very, very interested in why he's been picked and what he could bring to help to smooth over foreign relations, because I think it's been a bit of a bumpy ride, right, Sylvia, so far? Mr. Trump has not got off to the best start, it has to be said, internationally, and I think, the dismissal of Rex Tillerson, on Tuesday, I think there's a lot more hope right now that we can bring a bit more steady the ship, because, obviously Mike Pompeo is, I think, more in the interests of American diplomacy. What do you think?
And also, besides that, imagine all the experience he has and that he can contribute with Mr. Trump, because, about worldwide.
Well, he's more of a trusted figure. And if you look at the particular political climate right now, which is all about suspicion, no trust, it's all over the news, whether it's Russia versus, obviously, the inquiry about Russian interference, or whether it's Russia right now with the attempted assassination of a former spy. There's all of this mistrust, and you need somebody like from CIA, I think, who obviously has his hand on the switch and knows the inside story. The problem with Rex Tillerson, I think, was because he was an industry guy. He wasn't a politician. So Congress, he could never really win their approval. And internationally, he and Trump clashed a lot and publicly, and that's embarrassing. You should never have a political leader publicly denouncing, or even worse, your Secretary of State calling you a moron.
Exactly. If he's a president,
you don't do that. That diminishes.
I could say that Trump is basically creating now a new team, political-wise, but a very strong team. And of course, I think he was just waiting for the right moment to bring Pompeo in and somebody out, and he had to choose Rex, definitely.
Yeah, Rex had made a rod for his own back. He'd gone against Trump's two big international decisions. Firstly, naming Jerusalem as Israel's capital, and now, and Rex Tillerson, less than enthusiastic about that. So undermining Trump's power, obviously, as we all know, is going to only lead to one final decision. But the other thing, really, the whole Iran-US deal, about nuclear disarmament, going into this new talks with Kim Jong-un in North Korea, they've got to sort this out. They've got to have a consistent message. And, somebody like Mike Pompeo, who's got the inside track, he's going to be a really key advisor on how to prepare. He's going to be looking for any particular weaknesses in North Korea.
Exactly.
He's going to be thinking about measures and countermeasures, because Trump on his own is not going to be able to carry that meeting on his own.
Absolutely. I can tell you that I think this is one of the very, very best moves from Mr. Trump to bring him in as part of his team, because exactly as an advisor, he has all the secrets from any country in the world. So I think that was very, very smart from President Trump. Definitely.
Yeah, to credit to him, because it's yet another dismissal, it's yet another popular face that has taken months to build credibility, and then he's gone after Gary Cohn, the economic advisor. Now you've got another one. It's almost like becoming, for the hardline Trump critics, they just love this. It's cannon fodder for them to just have another reason to criticize him, right?
Exactly. And let's face it as well. It's never good to have an Scorpio inside of the house.
Exactly right.
If he's actually calling him moron in front of everybody and he's in the same team, that's not a good player.
Those headlines just going to run and run and run.
It was going to take him into just damage his image, which, of course, we know then he's been doing this and that, and not always he's the more wise person in the world. However, he's a president of one of the most powerful nations around the world, and so he's looking for some support as well. And advisors, good advisors, could actually make Trump release from his own, explosivity sometimes once in a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, consider this, right?
But he's not going to be an enemy.
No, he's not. But I mean, at the same time, he's not afraid to speak his mind. And
exactly.
He's got the security in himself. I mean, there are very few advisors in the cabinet, in the administration, that really have, apart from the defense. I really admire him also. He's not afraid. If he loses his job, so be it. He's not there to brown nose and be a stooge, He's there to do a job and get, US credibility back, because they've lost international credibility with countries like China, who are moving ahead politically. I mean, US is going to be left in the dust internationally if they don't start to compete on the international forum. Trump, as we said the other day, has not secured an international trade deal yet. He hasn't even managed to secure, the NAFTA, rewriting that. So they need to make inroads, and quickly, because they've got to make up for lost time, because it's embarrassing. Trump's getting ridiculed in the international foreign political press. And he needs a guy that stands up and is not afraid to go toe-to-toe, have a difference of opinion, and create more credibility around Trump, actually help him to achieve his objectives. And also, I'd like to see him rein him in from time to time in terms of all this. What's happening with the tweet account, it's just creating chaos for the administration, because, we all know Trump gets up in the morning. First thing in the morning he does, 6 a.m., he sends a tweet. Now, he hasn't briefed his advisors, he hasn't told them what is on his mind, and then they're reeling, and all day long.
Is he writing what he's...
I don't even know if he spell checks it,
He had a dream and then he plays it. Is that how it works?
He wakes up in the morning, the first thing he does, the first thing I do in the morning, I get up and have a run, but I don't get on my Twitter account. I sort of engage brain first and then open mouth is kind of the right thing to do here. So if he's got an international secretary of state like Mike Pompeo, I really have high hopes. Yes, the world, I think Washington is somewhat relieved. Rex Tillerson, although Trump says they got on all right, he was, ExxonMobil, former, chief executive, and he landed some big deals, and especially with Russia. I suppose to his credit, he figured out that Vladimir Putin is a bad guy. To his credit, he's opened up that can of worms, but yet again, he left chaos behind him, because, he's got 6 unfulfilled Secretary of State positions.
Exactly.
How could you not have a Secretary of State or an ambassador, a US ambassador to Europe right now? That's dumb.
Yes,
he hasn't got a US ambassador in South Africa. He hasn't got one in South Korea. You need that pincer movement right now with South Korea to broker that deal with North Korea.
Why do you think he did that?
Because he's been on his own. He's been on the road. He's not had time to focus on the domestic administration, the staffing job of his cabinet. And he's been on, it wasn't cool. I don't think it was a great help to him. Trump left him out there on his own. He left him in the wind.
Exactly.
Traveling.
That's true.
It's not been the traditional role. If you remember former secretaries of state like Colin Powell, right? This guy, Nobel Peace winner. Truly accomplished. But he wasn't a brown noser, right? Under the government at the time, he was leading, the fight against the war on terror. He was really involved. He was up to his eyeballs in the political mire of international terrorism, international trade. But he goes down in the record books and the history books as an incredible Secretary of State. I don't think anybody can dispute that.
Exactly.
And so I think once you put all the egos to one side, especially the current president, if he can just for a minute, put his desire, I don't know whether it's to win laureates or what he's really trying to follow in the footsteps of, but to me, I just think he needs to listen and take on board a strong advisor, work together and create solidarity.
Work together and set some wisdom on it, because also on the other hand, it could be dangerous in somehow, because with all the, he's going to be able to help him with very strong strategies in anything he needs, with any country he needs, Pompeo. But if Mr. Trump, if he actually reacts like he normally does, then it could be dangerous.
Yeah, they need to get their A game together, right? You know,
the way I see it is that he could actually become the strongest leader in the whole world. And
Exactly.
you're going to talk later about the situation with UK. So that's when I'm going to come up with something that has to do with this. So pay attention to what we're going to discuss later, because it's going to be very interesting. And see you in a moment. Stay with us.